Aloha fellow explorers, Hawaii is now open, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to go to Hawaii under their new pre-testing travel program so you can go to the Aloha state and not have to quarantine. By the way, if this is your first time here, my name is Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. This video is part of my series on Hawaii. You'll find more videos in the description below, and if you watched my video about Hawaii's reopening 2 months ago, consider this one an update now that Hawaii is open. This is the most current information as of November 6th, 2020. In this video, I'll be talking about the tests and how to get them, what to do with your test results once you have them, the difference in rules between the various islands, inter-island travel, layovers, masks, and what to do and what's open once you get to Hawaii. So first, let's talk about the tests. Who needs to get them? Everybody traveling to Hawaii that does not want to quarantine for 14 days has to get a COVID-19 test 72 hours before the departure of their final leg to Hawaii, provided they are aged 5 and older. This means that children under the age of 5 do not need to get a COVID-19 test, do not need to quarantine when they arrive in Hawaii. Now, what kind of test do you need to get? Well, it's kind of complicated because there's lots of different COVID-19 tests. Simply put, you will need to get a test from a vendor that is approved by the state of Hawaii. You can find the link to their website right here or in the description below if you want to know more about all the different vendors and how they provide tests. But it's kind of complicated because some are in person, some are supervised over video conference, some take 2 or 3 days to get results back, others are in 15 minutes. So as you're going through that list looking for testing centers that are close to you, pay attention to the ones that offer quick results at a price that you want. The prices for the COVID-19 pre-tests range from free to $250 on the upper end, with the mid price being about $130 per person for COVID-19 tests. Now, the type of tests, they're either the ones that you do the nasal swab or you spit in a tube. As of today, the only approved testing partners are either on the mainland of the USA or in Japan. Those are the only 2 places where pre-testing partners are. There are testing partners in Hawaii, but those testing partners in Hawaii are only for inter-island travel, so you can't get the COVID-19 test when you get there to test out of quarantine once you're already on the islands. You have to get the test before you go. My recommendation would be to get your test through the airline that you're flying to get to Hawaii, because if it's through the airline, they want you to get there. They don't want any hiccups. I think that will be the most streamlined process. United Airlines, American Airlines, Alaska Airlines, and Hawaiian all have programs to do this testing and labs they have contracted with. Like I say before, some are at airports, some are mail-in, some are off-site, but in particular, like United Airlines at San Francisco Airport, you can do it on-site in the international terminal of San Francisco Airport, $250. You get your test results back in 15 minutes. If you don't mind driving to a different part of the airport and getting your test results in 48 hours, then you can get that at the United Technical Facilities parking lot for $80. So the longer it takes for your results, the cheaper they are. American Airlines is offering on-site testing at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport and in Maui, and American Airlines is offering virtual testing for passengers flying out of LAX, Phoenix, and Chicago, meaning those are the ones that you get the test. A doctor watches you spit into the tube and you mail it back. Now, another really interesting place to get tested is at Oakland Airport. Why? Well, Oakland Airport really wants people to fly out of there to Hawaii, and so Oakland Airport is offering COVID-19 tests for free for any passengers that are headed to Hawaii. Southwest, Hawaiian, and Alaska Airlines all fly out of Oakland. Oakland Airport recommends that you get your test at least 1 day before to give yourself time to get the test results, cancel or change your flights if you need to. The final thing I'll mention about getting your test results, most of these providers take appointments and also offer walk-ins. My recommendation would be definitely to make an appointment because you want to make sure you can actually get that test before you go. Okay, so now let's talk about what to do with your test results once you have them. Now, each of the providers gets you the test results in a different way. Some of them email it to you, some of them print it out and give it to you. Well, once you've gotten the test results that show your COVID-19 negative from that provider, you need to upload them to your State of Hawaii Safe Travels account. This is the website that you have to go to register your health status with Hawaii. You basically upload a scan, a PDF, a JPEG of your COVID-19 negative test to that website. that's what's going to clear you to go to Hawaii. It's also recommended that you bring a printout of your results with you. For some reason, if they can't access your account, they can take those printed results in lieu of them uploaded online when you get to Hawaii. Also, some hotels are asking for proof of those negative COVID-19 tests results before you check in, so have those printed out and handy when you go to Hawaii. Okay, so now let's talk about the different islands of Hawaii. Everything I told you about the pre-testing travel program and quarantine-free travel, the island of Oahu, which is the capital of Hawaii where Honolulu is, everything I just said goes for there. You get your test, you fly into Oahu, it's negative, and you enjoy the Oahu island life. If you're going to the big island of Hawaii, this is the island that's actually called Hawaii, it's where the active volcanoes are, well, in that case, you'll actually need a second COVID-19 test when you arrive on the big island of Hawaii. That's one of the rapid tests that takes 15 minutes. If you test positive on that, they will give you a more accurate test that then takes up to 3 days for results. Between the time of that 15-minute one and the 3-day one, they will ask you to quarantine until you get the results back from that other test. There have been a few thousand people that have come through the Big Island since they've been reopened on October 15th, and only 3 people have tested positive so far. So chances are pretty slim that it's going to be you, but it could be a possibility. Now, the other 2 major islands that visitors go to, Maui and Kauai, they are offering optional COVID-19 tests 3 days after you arrive on those islands. Going to Maui, the optional 3-day test is free. It's just a test that they recommend that you can take to make sure you're still COVID-19 negative. On Kauai, you do have to pay for it. It's about $130, but then they give you a coupon book that you can spend at vendors on the island for the same value that the test cost. Again, on Maui or Kauai, there is no obligation to take that test, though, after 3 days, just recommended, but optional. Okay, so what if you're laying over, connecting in Hawaii to a different island, or what if you want to travel between islands while you're there? Well, it's a little bit complicated. First, let's start with layovers. If your ticket arrives in Honolulu and then you're connecting onto Maui, your original COVID-19 test is good for that whole duration. Now, if your flight is not ticketed as a connection, but you've got like 2 separate tickets where you fly to Honolulu and then you spend overnight in Honolulu and then you want to go to Maui, well, that's considered inter-island travel, and inter-island travel also requires COVID-19 tests before you travel between the islands. So if you're arriving in one island and then you're going to others, you're going to have to get a COVID-19 test before you go to the other ones. Unless the inter-island that you're traveling to is Oahu. You can go from Maui, Kauai, or the Big Island to Oahu inter-island and not have to get a COVID-19 test before. So my recommendation, if you want to do like 2 islands and that island includes Oahu, then start with one of the other ones first, because your original COVID-19 test will be good for Maui, Kauai, or the Big Island. Spend some time there, and then you can go to Oahu without having to get that second test to go to Oahu. If you're doing a layover and it's the same day, make sure it's ticketed as a connection and a layover and not multiple tickets. Okay, now let's talk about the mask rules. Where do you need to wear a mask in Hawaii? When? How? So Hawaii has a statewide mask mandate that's been issued by the governor. What does that mean? Well, that means that when you're in Hawaii, you should basically wear your mask anytime you're out in public. This means about the only places that you don't need to wear your mask are when you're in your hotel room, lodging, car, when you're in the ocean, when you're in the pool, or when you're actively eating. Those are the times you don't need to wear a mask. In theory, every other time you do need to wear a mask. I say in theory because it's a mandate, it's not a law. Every city, county, island interprets it differently. Some municipalities are issuing tickets to people that are not wearing masks. Other places, it's okay to not wear masks if you're on the beach, on the sand. Some places say you should, some places say you shouldn't. It's all really confusing right now, so it's hard to give you any concrete guidance about that, other than if you want to be on the safe side, wear your mask all the time when you go to Hawaii, unless you're in private, your hotel, your car, or you're in the ocean or in the pool. Okay, so once you get to Hawaii, what's actually open? Well, let's start. Outdoorsy things are pretty much open. Beaches, parks, hiking trails, those are all open. Yes, you're gonna have to wear your mask, but most of them are open. You know, some of them are still closed, like Diamond Head is still closed, but pretty much all those parks are, if they're not open now, they are in plans or phases to open soon. Hotels, most hotels have reopened at this point. If they haven't reopened, they're planning to open in November, December, or January. One of the Hawaii tourism organizations gave a statistic that said that on Oahu, 80% of the hotels plan to be open by the end of November. Restaurants on the islands have been allowed to open for indoor dining. They're restricted to 50% of capacity, so if you want to dine in, pretty recommended to make a reservation. When you do sit down at a restaurant, you most likely will have to share your contact tracing details so that they know who was there to call you in the event that somebody's COVID-19 positive. Many restaurants are closing early, opening late, maybe haven't even opened yet. Some, even though they have indoor dining, haven't opened their indoor dining. So be prepared to do a lot of takeout, get your food, eat it on the beach, eat it in your car, eat it in your hotel room. Those are all great ways to still get nourished during the pandemic. Stores, bowling alleys, and movie theaters have all been allowed to open up to 50% capacity as well, but just because stores have been allowed to reopen doesn't mean all of them are. In some of the most heavily tourist areas like Waikiki, there are still a ton of boarded up shops, so don't expect everything to be open right away because they need tourists to actually be open to be in business. Now, some of the most popular big attractions in Hawaii still remain closed. In particular, luau's are closed, bars are closed, bus tours are closed. One of my favorite things on Oahu, the Polynesian Cultural Center, currently closed. There's currently no torch lighting at Kuhio Beach in Waikiki. Hanauma Bay, the really popular snorkeling spot, is still closed. And of course, nightclubs are closed as well. People often ask me about cruises. Chris, when are cruises coming back to Hawaii? The earliest cruises that I see on anybody's schedule are like at the end of December of this year. Most of the cruise companies aren't planning to come back to Hawaii until 2021 at the earliest. Now, the real question is, with all these restrictions in place, should you go to Hawaii or should you wait? Well, it depends. If you enjoy outdoor activities, you enjoy the beach, you enjoy hiking, you don't mind wearing your mask almost all the time, and you're okay with the current COVID-19 risk that's out there, then absolutely go to Hawaii and enjoy it. You'll enjoy a lot of Hawaii's natural beauty with very few tourists that are there. Now, on the other hand, if you like nightlife, if you like bars, if you like bus tours, if you like luau's, if you like the Polynesian Cultural Center, and you don't like wearing masks, then you should wait. But if you've decided you are going, you might want to enjoy checking out some of my other videos on Hawaii. You'll find playlists right here for Oahu, Maui, and Kauai. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in one of these videos.